This is our friendly against Serbia. We got Dragan Stojkovic, who is a former player for the national team, who he's named a pretty highly inexperienced 17-player roster. From what I understand,
a domestic team.
Mostly. They're all domestic. There's 14 call-ups from the Serbian Superliga, and then there's 3 from Major League Soccer. They have all 17 of them have fewer than 10 combined caps. So
I think it's 4. When I read on the website, it was 4 combined for at least the initial roster that they put out.
4
and they were all from MLS players.
Yeah, so they're all super inexperienced, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Stojkovic gets everybody together. Now, when he's been coaching, he typically deploys like a 3-5-2 formation, and very similar to what Hudson's going to do. You get this collection of players. Yes, there's a style that he wants the player to continue to play because he was assistant under Greg. So there's obviously an ideology and a methodology to how they want to perform and what they want to look like. And Anthony Hudson came out and said he's still talking to Greg. So you wonder how much influence, if any, Greg is having on either player selection or who Greg wants to see, assuming he continues in the job. And then from a Stojkovic perspective, he's trying to do the same. So I feel like this game, I want to get your guys' expectations for what we should be seeing. I know what we want to see, but I think January camps get a little stodgy at times. And Chuck, I'll come to you first, where you have so many new players all trying to prove themselves that sometimes that's not the most aesthetically pleasing 90 minutes.
No, my expectations are really low. Just in terms of a January camp, typically you have 2 weeks to build into it. So you have already formed some relationships on the pitch and, getting to know each other, as well as match fitness and sharpness that they're going to be missing because most of them haven't been playing the past 2 months. So it'll be interesting to see how this game unfolds, but my expectations are very low, very, very low.
Okay, but within that, there's still opportunities for guys. It's almost less about like these sequences where we combine 5, 6, 7 passes and more just these little moments where they're either looking for that or they're doing something more in a 1v1 standpoint, Heath, where maybe they defend really well in 1v1 situations. Maybe they're attacking out wide and good 1v1, getting off crosses consistently or whatever it may be. I mean, what should we be looking for the fans, and especially that are kind of new to the U.S. men's national team? What should we be looking for in this game, knowing that it's going to be not as fluid as it would be if we had the full team or if they just had more time together?
Honestly, this is also bizarre because you have a couple of Red Bull players, former, or at least you had Aaron Long and you have Tolkien. And outside of that, you have Paul McCall and Ariola. But you don't have any, normally there's even a contingent of guys that come from clubs back in the day in January camps, right? Of comfort. And yeah, you got some players that played youth national teams together. So it's a lack of rhythm. They're having to fit into a new system and all that type of stuff. But I mean, I'd love to see I don't want to see individuals being individuals, but I'd like to see some players show a little bit of that flash that's gotten them called up, right? I don't want to see guys come in a little bit timid, trying to fit into the system. There's really nothing to lose in a game like this and only an opportunity. And to be honest with you, and I'd love your guys' answer on this. Did you not always feel a little bit more comfortable in a January game than other ones in terms of just...
Well, you had more time to ramp up, right?
Yeah, you had more time to ramp up.
About it more.
It was also a little bit, you automatically, as you guys at any point in your national team careers, automatically when you come into a January camp, if you're a player that's been in the national team before, you ultimately become a leader quickly, right? Because you know that the tier of player is going to be the next tier down. And if you've been in before, you now have a chance to sort of be a little more comfortable, be a little bit more of a leader. That's not necessarily the case with this group, but it could be for an Ariola or others that are being called back in again to be leaders. But for the young players, yeah, I want to see a little bit of fearlessness, I know that's hard in games like this because of the rhythm, but I'm wondering what else, win 1-0. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. For me, the result's secondary to this. It's more just about idea. I want to see ideas and boldness, right? Having some bravado. Yeah. I'm going to take this. I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to be positive. All three of us could go out there and probably play safe the whole game. We could just play safe. But we don't need to see that. But I also don't want guys that are trying to force the game either. And that's a really delicate balance where we don't want them to try too hard. So, Chuck, I'm going to throw this to you. I want you to pick one player in each line of the field that you're really excited to see and what you want to see out of them. I want to see Gaga Slonina, and I want to see him own the box. I would love to see Jonathan Gomez, who's playing at Real Sociedad. I don't know if we will, but I would love to see him in the back line at the left back spot. Mm-hmm. I know he's already got one cap already, but I'd like to see a little bit more of him. In midfield, Paxton Aronson obviously is the easy one. I'm going to go with Alan Senora. I really want to see what he's bringing to the table. I thought he was excellent in Argentina as the number 10, and I think we want to start exploring using a number 10 a little bit more. And then up top, I'm torn between Zendejas and Vasquez, but I'll say Zendejas in this first game because he won't be available for the second, so I'll say Vasquez for that one. And I want to see how he can do with the group that he's just meeting more often than not for the first time, and can he still create space and be dangerous despite those circumstances against a Serbia team that I think is going to be very competitive, by the way, who are also fighting to get some relevance to make sure they can get called into future camps. Chuck, who do you like in each line of the fields, and what are you looking for from them?
Yeah, Slonina, although I think Sean Johnson starts, so I don't think we'll see Slonina. DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones.
Why do we even ask? Why do we even ask him?
I don't
Jimmy,
even know why we ask.
Hey, so Sean Johnson in goal. And then also we got to find out where he's going, right? Is it Europe?
Yeah, true.
Or is he going to opt for? I guess Toronto FC was probably the club that probably stands the biggest chance to get him within MLS. And then DeJuan Jones as a right back, getting his first cap. I'd like to see what that looks like. Eric Williamson in the midfield, and then Zendejas up top. So those are the players that I'd like to see. Obviously, Paxton is super talented, and this will be a good look to see him with the full men's national team. But Zendejas and Eric Williamson, just because of the upside that he has playing on both sides of the ball in midfield.
Yeah, I like Eric's game a lot. I'm still bummed that he got hurt in the Gold Cup. All right, how about you, Heath? Pick some players. And then we'll send everybody on their way.
Yeah, I'd love to see Julian Gressel. I know Charlie doesn't like that sound, but I'd love to see just this.
Gressel.
I think
he's like our age.
I know, but I mean, he's not going to be the guy that I'm picking, but I would love to see him play.
He'd also, yeah.
Sometimes you just want to see a guy come into the, like, everybody's like,
Jeff Agus.
I'll do all that.
Jeff
Agus. We've all played with guys that didn't get called into the national team, and obviously his circumstances are different because he wasn't actually a citizen, but they're always like, yeah. And then, or even guys that play on the bench and they're like, dude, I could crush that if I was in that game. And you see him get in, you're like, no, you didn't crush nothing, dude. You ain't getting minutes for a while. But so like that's one that I just want to see level wise how he fits into the conversation. But for me in the back line, I want to see Sam Rogers. Kind of was thinking John Tolkien, but I want to see Sam Rogers just because I've been reading good things about him and his aerial abilities and kind of outside the box. So for my back line, I'm going to go Sam Rogers. Midfield, Paxton Aronson, for sure for me on that one. And then I'm like Jimmy, I was torn between Brennan Vasquez and Zendejas. I think I'll go with Brennan Vasquez. I want to see how he fits in. I saw him at media day, and that's a big body Benz, dude. I just want to see what he can do for the national team. He's huge, and I just want to see again that mobility and versatility, and just see what he can do in the national team to have an impact. So those are my three guys. And then in the back line, I would love to see Gaga Slonina, but I agree with Charlie. I think it's going to be Sean Johnson, especially considering.
I think Slonina will get a game, but maybe Sean Johnson gets this first one. This first one, though, U.S. versus Serbia is happening on Wednesday, January 25th. Kickoff 7 p.m. Pacific is happening at the newly named BMO Stadium where LAFC play. The other game will actually be where the Galaxy play, which is pretty interesting against Colombia. Yeah, what's up?
We got to get Heath's take on who should be the GM. Who should fill in for McBride.
Okay, final thought here with Heath Pearce. Brian McBride is out. Dude, he thought he was getting out of the show without being on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah,
I'm super well qualified for this job, guys. Come on.
Listen.
Like,
Charlie,
how am I?
Charlie said Oguchi Onyewu
you are
John Thornton would be good shouts. Charlie also indirectly nominated himself. I, of course, nominated myself. So, Heath, you've already nominated yourself. You
You guys nominated yourself too. You guys are so cocky.
I definitely did not nominate myself, but Jimmy.
But in a way, you did.
In a way, you did. Indirectly nominated himself.
Jimmy was like, "Of course, I'm the guy."
Pull the receipts. I know that Chuck nominated himself. I'd be great at it. I'd be great.
I'd say I do like the idea of Thornton. I don't think he would want to give that up. He's a LA boy. Gets to surf in the morning, enjoy life.
Still do that.
In addition to.
No, but I think he could still be a Cali boy and surf and hold this job.
What, on the lake in Chicago or what?
No. I heard they're
you don't have to move.
You don't have to be in Chicago anymore.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I think they are decentralizing a little bit and doing a little bit more of a hybrid approach. But like you're going to be on the road a lot. I think if you're a GM too, which is normal. He's on the road too with
He just won MLS
LA.
Cup. He just bought
But
himself like 3 easy years before he's under
and he
any
got Gareth
pressure.
Bale to come over. Like he's got the
Yeah,
skills.
I do like him. He's also got the business chops. I think there's a little bit of that connection between the staffs and a little bit of the business side of it as well, financials and all those types of things that you need that type of experience. He's probably the most qualified. I think Gooch is getting that crash course right now.
Yeah.
Maybe needs a couple more years in that type of environment to be able to step in right away, but certainly has.
Well, McBride didn't have any of that, right? So
Well, I
And
think
he's
you,
Brian McBride.
and he did
think-
really well.
yeah.
Well, I'm saying it's a Gucci Onyewu.
I know.
You
I agree.
can
I
speak
agree.
5
I
different
agree.
languages.
I said I think he should be in there. I think he'd be a great hire, and I think he
That's
would
a
learn
good shout.
quickly because he's
Maybe-
always learned quickly wherever he's
Are
gone.
is it a hire or is it like a voting at that point? I know that like for a head coach at a certain level, they've got to go to the board for a voting. Do you think
I
it's
don't
have
but
no
yeah, those
idea.
are actually both great shouts. I haven't
We're
really
gonna have
thought
to
beyond
have
the,
JT Batson to come on and explain it to us,
Yeah.
the CEO of U.S. Soccer.
yeah.